let's make kombucha. I usually make 4 gallons of kombucha. For that, I take a gallon pot and put 1 gallon of water and let it boil. And then the ratios are for 1 gallon of kombucha, you take 1 gallon of water, 1 pound of sugar, and 1 ounce of black tea.
Approximately 12 bags, right?
Yeah, approximately 12 bags of
you can show them.
these organic black tea.
And this is the sugar, and this goes in here.
Organic sugar, and I use reverse osmosis water, and a couple jars of kombucha to make kombucha. So what I found is easier is if you take part water and boil it and add the total amount of sugar. So I have added 4 pounds of sugar in this, and I'm going to add 48 bags of these and let them seep. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a thing like this, and if I'm making in 2 jars, if I pour 1 of this, I pour 3 of regular water to make it 1:3, because I only had 1 gallon for a total of 4 gallons in this. So that way I don't have to wait for the whole tea to cool down, and I don't need a big pot like a 4-gallon pot. So this is what I found the easiest method was. Just decide how much you want in total, and then only take part of the water and add everything in it, and then you could add the cold water proportionately to dilute it off. Let's see how it goes.
And you want to show the SCOBY?
Yeah, sure. So we have made kombucha before, and this is some of the leftovers. It's tea, and this is our SCOBY
that is needed for the fermentation.
So this is what is going to ferment the tea. And SCOBY stands for symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. And I believe this is the only fermented product that uses yeast instead of bacteria. And I believe there's really good health benefits from kombucha. So we usually make in 2 jars at a time. And we also need previous kombucha to add to the tea, and that is called the starter tea. So I will show you when I do that and what is the reason to do that. Here I have added 48 bags of black tea, and 4 pounds of sugar to approximately 1 gallon of water. So basically this is a very concentrated tea, and I'll let it steep for like 20 minutes. And then what I will do is I'm going to take this hot tea in and for every 1 cup I'm going to add 3 cups of cold water, and that will help me to cool the whole solution quicker to room temperature before I can add SCOBY. If you add SCOBY to hot tea, the SCOBY is going to die. So this helps me to save some time and not wait like for an hour to cool the whole thing down. So we have let it sit for like 20 minutes, and now I'm going to take the tea bags out. I usually use a spatula to squeeze the tea out, and we use these tea bags to make compost. So
is it easier to use tea bags rather than the powder, you think?
Yeah, so if you have to use powder, then using a sieve to get the tea out is a difficult process, and
you found this was easy?
This is much easier.
Okay.
Tea bags are a little expensive, but I think pays off.
Saves your time. Okay.
So I'm using these tongs to squeeze the tea out of the bags. I found this helpful. I'm going to use the tea bags for compost, and here is the concentrated tea with sugar, which would be good enough for 4 gallons of total kombucha.
Did you start the stove after you did that?
No, no.
So it was under
It was off.
off
It's turned
throughout
off. Yeah.
since you put the tea bags.
Yeah, you can boil it. It shouldn't harm anything.
Okay.
But usually I bring it to boil. Um, you dissolve the sugar and then add the tea bags
Okay.
and let it steep for 20 minutes.
Okay.
So the key in handling the SCOBY is to be sterile. So I washed my hands couple times and I don't have any residual soap because that will kill the bacteria and the SCOBY as well. And I use handkerchiefs to cover the top so that way no insects or house flies or
Fruit
fruit
flies.
flies go into it. Very important, because if they go inside they take other fungus and spoil the SCOBY. And online you can see the SCOBY can look in so many different
Colors?
shades and colors, and not that doesn't mean that it is gone bad, it just means it's like that. But if it is like blue or green with fungus in it, then definitely you need to discard it. We had that kind of fungus couple times, and what I found was I was keeping for fermentation inside a closed space like a closet, and when there is no air circulation, uh, then it lets the fungus grow. Now we keep it on top of the fridge where there is good air circulation, and I never had that problem again. And then I'm using
Muslin cloth?
you can use muslin cloth like 2 or 3, or like a handkerchief like this, and I make sure that I don't I keep it clean and neat to put it back on top of it. So that's the key. And while handling SCOBY, it's very important to be very sterile. So here is what I plan to do. Because it's 4 gallons today, I'm gonna put like 1.5 gallon here,
So
1.5 gallon here, and 1.5 gallon here, and I'm gonna use this to store my SCOBYs for future, and as a backup in case one of them or both of them get spoiled.
so is this the jar where you're planning to make it?
Yeah, so this will be one of the jars. So I already put 3 cups of this, and I'm gonna put 1 cup of, my hands are clean, so
Does the jar need to be soap free and clean?
yes, so the jar needs to be clean with soap, but don't leave any soap residues inside.
Okay. So just transferring that liquid.
Yeah, I know the ratio should be 1:3, and so I'm going to pour one of this. Now I get the right proportions, but looks like this can take even more, but I'm going to try to evenly distribute. And if you see, this is already room temperature because I added cold water and hot water, and that saves me some time.
Okay.
This is the previous SCOBY. Handle it. Feels like almost like elastic rubber.
Yeah.
This is actually multiple SCOBYs. You could peel them out if you could. You see, this is one. So every time we make one set of kombucha, the SCOBY multiplies. So one becomes 2, and then it keeps changing like that. So this will be my SCOBY hotel where I'm going to store all my previous SCOBYs. Actually, what I'm going to do before putting this is I'm going to add some of my tea that I just made, because the SCOBY needs some fresh tea to feed off it. So I'm going to add some to this. So I'm going to take like half a cup of this. Because it is hot, I didn't want to put it directly in the SCOBY. 1.
You're diluting it,
Yes.
making it colder too. Okay.
Oh, the SCOBY fell inside. this have been sitting in here for a long time. We haven't made kombucha in a while, so that's the thing. See, this would be one SCOBY.
Mm-hmm.
I think this may be the mother SCOBY, I remember.
Okay.
Put it in here. This is a second SCOBY. I'm gonna put it here. I may use this bag to ferment this batch. I'm gonna use this as a placeholder.
Okay.
So this one, I've diluted it in the right proportion.
This is the tea you just made.
Just made.
Okay.
Now we have to add previous starter tea to this, and that is very important because the pH of this one is almost neutral, and if you just put the SCOBY, then you can the other bacteria and fungi can multiply and spoil the kombucha. So what we do is we put the previous tea to make it acidic. Typically they say if it is less than pH 5, I have a pH meter but we don't need to. Like if you put a cup of it, that will definitely decrease the pH of the starter tea to less than 5, and that should be all good. So I could use the taps to get the previous tea from this one.
So you're planning to make in 3 jars now?
Yeah, today I want to make a lot, so I don't have to keep doing this, and this will be good for like a month.
Okay. How long does it usually take?
Around 10 days to make the first ferment, and I'm going to show you how to make the second ferment, which is the flavoring.
Okay.
This is not flavored, so that's the key. When we are using, we should use non-flavored.
Is it called the raw kombucha they sell
Raw
in the
kombucha.
stores? Okay.
Yeah, in the stores, the raw kombucha is also filtered, so there's not much good bacteria left over.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I guess some of them are not like that. I'm not sure, but definitely I know this is the previous kombucha tea, which I'm gonna
Looks similar.
put on here to make it more acidic. I'm gonna add more because I have a lot.
You don't need to stir or anything, right?
No,
Okay.
we don't need to. Don't stir.
Now you pick one SCOBY.
You know, I'm gonna use a bunch. If you need more SCOBY, if you put it's not gonna harm it.
Okay, otherwise even one SCOBY is good for this big a batch of kombucha.
Yeah, it's like a gallon and a half. And these are big SCOBYs. If you buy SCOBYs from Amazon, they come with a small SCOBY, so I would recommend making like 1 gallon initially and then making more
Okay.
out of it. So it will take the shape of the jar. So if I put it in the square jar, the SCOBY will become square. So this is all set, and I'm going to cover that up with a cloth and put a rubber band around it and keep it in shade with good ventilation for 10 to 15 days.
Definitely not in a cabinet.
No, not in an enclosed space with good free air movement. But I have a pH meter I got from Amazon, and I usually wait till the pH is around like 3. The another thing I wanted to tell you is if you add a lot of previous starter kombucha here, it may already be less than 4. So sometimes I taste and I get to know when has it fermented. So usually I leave it for 7 to 10 days. These I didn't get time to do second kombucha, so these might have actually got so much fermented that they might have even become like they say vinegar. It's like completely fermented. There's no sugar left, and but it's still good for starter
Brewing
kombucha.
again. Okay.
Yeah. And I may remove some of this because this is a lot.
Okay.
And there is one SCOBY already in here, so I'm gonna use that for this one.
Oh, you left in one.
No,
for
in this one, so I'm gonna use another
From
one
your
from
bank.
here, and SCOBY Bank or SCOBY Hotel. This one already has one. I can see here. I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay. So you're going to take off some of the previous.
Yeah, previous vinegar.
Okay.
And, yeah. So I have transferred the first ferment into flip top bottles. These are called flip top bottles, and I also have a bunch of regular cap bottles, which I kept from store bought kombucha bottles. But I have a bunch of these flip top bottles. These are from IKEA, number 1034267. And what I'm going to do, after I finish up these, I'll show you how to do the second format. But what I did is I transferred the previous kombucha into multiple of these bottles. I have more there. So I've transferred all the tea into respective jars.
Like in three jars.
3 jars, and this will be my storage of SCOBY.
Okay.
With fresh tea, so that way the SCOBY can feed off it and live. Usually you can store for like 2-3 months and it will stay. And for first ferment we transferred into flip top bottles, and I left some space on the top. What I plan to do is I'm going to flavor it, and what flavoring is to add like apple juice or tart cherry, orange or ginger or whatever flavor you like. We add mint leaves, and typically I add like 20 ml of juice, but if it is just ginger, I only add like 5 ml because ginger is very strong. And you could change according to your taste. So this I'm gonna
and you're going to leave that second ferment for a couple days?
Yeah, like 3-4 days.
Okay.
Again, all the fermentation depends on the temperature of the house. And they even say if you had made previous kombucha in the environment, they have like the bacteria or whatever that makes it ferment faster. In the first ferment. The second ferment we close the flip top bottle,
so that need not have any mesh or anything.
No. So I'm going to use the handkerchief.
And is there a specific place you need to keep the second ferment?
Usually I keep out of light.
Okay.
Dark place. You can keep it in the
Cabinets
closets too.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm gonna use this kerchief and use a rubber band. Make sure it is nice. So
is it
no
like a
insects
cotton
can go in.
cloth?
Yeah, this is cotton cloth. You can use sari in like 1 or 2, like 2 layers or 3 layers.
Like
If
an
it is
Indian
very thin.
cotton
If it
sari,
is
old
thin.
one.
So that way no insects or ants can crawl in, and keep it in a safe place.
Basically, or any muslin cloth would work. Okay.
So I'm going to keep this on top of the fridge. So it's very easy to make, and definitely try it out. One of the healthiest drink on planet.
It has all probiotics.
All probiotic, and they even say prebiotics.
Okay.
And has tiny bit of alcohol because it is fermentation. And you can enjoy different flavors.
Is it more like a Coke or some kind of beverage?
No, it is very. It's not like Coke. It is because of fermentation. It releases a lot of carbon dioxide in the second ferment, and it has a lot of fizz, like the most fizz that you have ever drunk in any product. And if you like fizz, you'll love it.